LSU and Ole Miss, let's talk about it, bro. This game lost me a lot of money believing in LSU, but I'm not surprised because Brian Kelly is the coach, and since he's been to LSU, he has plenty of games like this. But the narrative will be that Ole Miss upset LSU at home. But if you watch this game, then you know that's not true because Ole Miss had a firm grip, firm control on the game from the second quarter all the way to the end of the game. And yes, they flamed out on their first two drives. They went 3 and out, but they was also going against a fresh LSU defense, which they eventually wore down because they ran 28 more offensive plays than LSU offense. And the total count ended up being 84-56. So when the gap is that wide, defense is eventually going to wear down. But the moment I lost faith in LSU winning this game was when Garrett Nussmeier threw that interception into triple coverage early in the second quarter. I'm like, this is the same mistakes he made last year, still making horrible decisions. And it was very reminiscent of the turnovers he had against Texas A&M. We cannot win football games like that, especially on the road, making mistakes like that. Maybe at home you can overcome something like that, but not on the road. Like, he got the crowd back involved. It felt like Ole Miss crowd was getting real quiet because LSU was about to score again, maybe be up 14-3. But as soon as you throw an interception, they back into the game. Whereas on the other hand, the opposing quarterback, Trinidad Chambers, he played very well. He had 300 yards in the air and he had 70 yards on the ground. A good dynamic dual threat quarterback. Does not look like a D2 quarterback. It's very clear why he's playing football for Ole Miss. And for Austin Simmons, I don't think he sees the field again this year because the way Trinidad Chambers is playing, he's playing very well. And I think he played himself into locking himself into that starting position and maybe playing into the Heisman conversation if he continues to play that way because that was a very good LSU defense that he handled pretty well. But it also helps when you have Lane Kiffin as the play caller. I don't care what you think about him as a person or his antics on social media. He's a great shot caller. Whereas the offensive coordinator for LSU he had a very questionable game plan and he's all over the place. I did not understand his game plan. Like, Ole Miss weakness is giving up the run. They struggled stopping the run against every team they played this year, and Joe Sloan didn't even attempt to try to run the ball. Like, I understand K. Durham out your best back, but you got to at least try to run the ball. They dropped back 8 defenders, and they only gave you a 3-man rush most of the game, and you were still giving up sacks and gave up a lot of pressures. He ran the ball like 4 times with a receiver in the first half, and the other 2 times it was with a running back. And one of those plays was 3rd and 20. Like, it was just like, oh, let's be safe, not turn over the ball, make a mistake. And I'm like, you didn't even try. So I don't want to hear people say LSU can't run the ball if you're not even trying to run the ball. That's on coaching. Also, when he did try to run the ball, it was a horrible 2-point conversion play that took way too long to develop. What was that play called? Like, did y'all practice that? Like, Jawan Johnson came all the way from the left side of the field and then motioned to run the ball. I mean, 71, the left tackle, he whiffed on the block, but still, the play call was too long to develop. And at that point, you got to throw the ball, I feel. But the defense for Ole Miss, they dropped back 8 defenders the whole game. Like, can we get a drop play or something, run the ball? I'm tired of the screen passes. You gotta mix it up. You got to do something. But LSU defense, I think they did. They held on for long as possible. They gave LSU a bunch of chances, and they eventually wore down, man. It was hot out there in Mississippi, and they was on the field the whole game. Like, it wasn't much more I think they could have done, but giving up 8 for 16 on 3rd down is horrible. That's no excuse. You got to get off the field on 3rd down. 50% conversion. A 50% conversion rate will beat you every single time. But the two chances they gave LSU to stay in the game, it was 7-3 and Ole Miss going down the field, and the defender punched the ball out right before the receiver scores and gave LSU offense a chance to go down and score again, and they did nothing with it. They ended up punting the ball. Second half, we down, I want to say 17-7, and P.J. Woodland comes up with an interception, and he brings the ball all the way past midfield. Guess what happened? We settled for 3, and that was like the last stop LSU got. And on the very next drive, Ole Miss converts a big 3rd down and 14. Chambers throws a dart down the middle of the field, and I felt like that was a real dagger in the game because they would later go on to score and be up 24-13. And with that, LSU didn't have enough time because the offense was all over the place. They took way too long to score in the next drive, and they had to burn an unnecessary timeout on a 4th and 1. So, yeah, that pretty much took the game away from us, I feel. But the biggest question I say still continues to be the offense, man. We don't have no offense identity still, and people are going to make the excuse that Garrett Nussmeier is hurt. And if he's on the field, we can't give him that excuse. You don't get that luxury of saying you're hurt when you're on the field. You have to make the play. You have to protect the ball. You have to be better. And if he's healthy, he have to play. Because if we pull him, we can't go back to Garrett Nussmeier. Once you pull a quarterback, it's pretty much over for the rest of the season. You can't go back to him being a starter because quarterback egos are fragile. And what happens if we start MVB Michael Van Buren and he flames out? Then, we go back to Nussmeier, but his confidence shot. You gave up on him. So I think the first thing we need to do before making a quarterback change is making a change at the play caller. Maybe take out Joe Sloan, Brian Kelly. You start calling the plays or something, because whatever Joe Sloan is doing is not working. He deserves all the criticisms he's getting because that was a bad play call, bad game plan. But yeah, LSU got 2 weeks to turn it around. Maybe they work on some of that offensive play calling, game planning, and hopefully we turn things around before we get to South Carolina. Yes, it was a bad loss, ugly loss. It killed my morale, but LSU does still have a lot of things to play for. We just got to figure out the offense. But I don't know. With the way we look, I don't believe we're a national championship team. I don't even believe we're a French playoff team with our offense right now. We have a good defense, but the defense can only hold on for so long. They can't stop the team from scoring and then go score all the points as well. We have to make a change on the offensive side of the ball. Another thing before I go, we do not have a certified RB2. Like, people would say Harlem Berry looked the best, and yes, he did, but I can't give much validity to that because Ole Miss was basically playing prevent defense, and it was just dropping back, making sure not to give up a big play, and making LSU eat up a lot of clock. We have to find a defensive RB2 in order to be successful because, I don't know, we mixed up so many running backs, and none of them really look to, take the bull by the horns. So hopefully LSU turns things around, and hopefully we bounce back because that was a very disappointing loss. All in all, at the end of the day, you got to give Ole Miss all the credit, though. They was a better team. They outcoached LSU, and they worked harder than LSU. They beat LSU at every single punch, and they did all this with one hand behind their back because they was penalized 14 times for 109 yards, and they also lost the turnover battle. Lane Kiffin had his team prepared and ready to play, and, yeah, they handled their business. Yeah, all you got to do is nod your head and say good win, bro.